There we are. All right, we are going live. There we are. We are live. Another Saturday, another coffee, another crypto. Bitcoin went through a drop yesterday. You would have saw my video if you watched it. It just reinforces the fact of how early we actually are into this market. Of course, we're going to see dips, and of course, we're going to weather them. We're going to make it out on the other side, just like Andy Dufresne, by far one of my favorite movies. Good morning, Vapor. Saw you in the chat earlier. Really appreciate you stopping by, buddy. We are going to talk about general things today. We're going to talk about crypto. There are some crypto news, but I do want to talk about some economic news because I think that's very important to put in perspective when we have certain things. First, let's talk about crypto. What's going on? How's it going, Natural Canadian? And then we'll talk about exactly why this dip's happening, what can we expect in the near term, and then we can branch off into more of the news stuff that I've prepared. And then obviously, if you guys have any questions, of course, we can continue to cover those. So Bitcoin is currently sitting at roughly just under $55,000 right now. If we look at the DXY did suffer a massive drop on our daily. So today we see now we have our Bitcoin up, everything's kind of up, but the USD is going down. So that DXY indicator is going down. How's it going, Bleak? So obviously in this case, we can see the correlation here. We've talked about this a number of times. Ben Cohen's talked about this a lot, that oftentimes when the United States dollar value is up, crypto goes down, and then vice versa. There we go. Got my coffee, got my crypto. That's the way to do it. So we did see this suffer, and we'll see if this continues. If this does continue, it's going to be bullish for Bitcoin. We've talked about where I think Bitcoin can go. I think at the very least, we're going to hold at 52,000. If we don't hold at 52,000, I'm still fairly confident in 43,000 or 42,000. So I'm not too terribly worried. What I speculate will happen, this is speculation, right? So just keep that in mind. I speculate that we're going to hit this trend line and that 52,000 and then hold support at that point and then go further up. Now, a lot of people are saying that, hey, like Plan B is still saying 100K Bitcoin or 90 whatever Bitcoin by the end of this month. It's November 27th. I don't think that's happening. And then some people are saying market peak in December. I think most likely if we're going to see anything in December, it's going to be a sell-off because people are going to think, hey, crypto's dipping just like 2017. Of course, I don't think that the peak is going to be in by December. I think we're going to peak sometime into 2022. So just keep that in mind. I mean, follow your own investment strategy, of course. Make sure that you do take profits when you need to take profits, when you personally have set those rates. But for me, I know I'm going to be holding, right? I'm going to hold through what's going to happen in the next month or so, expecting for better prices down the road. Eventually, we are going to crash, eventually, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. We have a lot of support where we are right now with Bitcoin, so I'm not too terribly worried. Yeah, I definitely think a December dip is coming. There's a lot of people too, like if you look, there's a lot of people buying Shiba Inu, a lot of people buying different altcoins right now. Cardano is on a massive fire sale. Like this should just get people just like soaking wet in the loins. You know what I mean? Like this right here. And like, I get it. People are scared. People are like, oh no, what are these prices? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. Why is Cardano going down so low? Should I hold? Should I sell? Like what's happening? This is where you buy, right? All those people that say, oh, like I wish I had the opportunity to buy Cardano at $1 or at 3 cents. These are your chances right here, these dips. Could it go lower? Of course it could. Is this the lowest that you're going to see for quite a while? Yeah, probably. I was calling before the dip. I was calling for a $4 Cardano. That's still fundamentally, that's still there. And by the end of the market cycle, I still think between $5 to $8 by the end of the market cycle. So looking at it now and getting a Cardano at $1.56, pretty good deal. We have XRP under $1. Ethereum did go down a little bit, but still hasn't suffered like a dramatic drop, right? If you look at Ethereum, it goes through here. Yeah, the eToro stuff didn't really help Oracle, but the thing about the eToro stuff is who really cares about eToro? I don't know if you guys actually use eToro or like I don't know anyone personally that uses eToro. I know they've been around for a while. Like I've heard the name a lot. I know that they are a big player. They have a lot of volume go through their exchange. It just like shocks me that FUD was that big of a catalyst to capitulate Cardano down. Crazy. I've seen delistings do a certain number on some tokens, so like I'm not like overtly surprised, but at the same time still a little surprised. Hey guys, if you can help me out, drop a like on the live stream, really appreciate it. But obviously Ethereum is still bouncing it around its same level, hasn't really dropped too much. The rest of the crypto market, there is some buying opportunities. Solana under $200. We talked about it. We were loading up back here. Obviously, here's another buy-in opportunity before continuing legs up. And of course, the market can still go further down. So I don't want you to blow everything right here, right now. But it really depends on what the DXY does over the next couple of days to week, what legacy financial markets do, and then ultimately go from there. So there's a lot of different things playing into this market right now that we need to be aware of that are impacting everything. Now, again, we could see that December sell-off for cryptocurrency, just going back to people like emotionally thinking back to 2017 and how that sell-off happened and anticipating that. A lot of people on social media, a lot of YouTubers are saying that we've hit a double peak. The double peak is in. We're only going to go down from here. Some people are even calling for, I've seen it, an 8K Bitcoin. Some people are even calling for an 8K Bitcoin. I could tell you with some sort of certainty, we're not going to see an 8K Bitcoin. And if we do, I said this in like 2 live streams ago, if we do see an 8K Bitcoin, I will sell my body and sell everything that I have for as much Bitcoin as I can get my hands on. You can take that to the bank. So keep in mind, if Bitcoin does go to 8K, I am hireable for other services. We'll leave it at that. Other than cryptocurrency, because it's good to keep in mind cryptocurrency, we have a lot of tokens still holding up very well, like the metaverse tokens. Polygon's not doing too bad, but we have Mana still doing fairly well. Sand is still doing fairly well. We have a lot of health, at least for the metaverse tokens, which is nice. Gala, by the way, if you guys are on Gala, Gala's been amazing so far. It's a XRP derivative game token. So I definitely look into Gala. They're doing amazing things there. Engine's also doing very well. So a lot of different metaverse tokens to look at, but the rest of the market is suffering. But probably just because metaverse is the flavor of the week, I suspect. Now, of course, I'm pretty bullish on where the metaverse is going to go in terms of VR, in terms of the future of education, virtual meetings, and everything else. I believe VR is the legitimate solution in our new world. That being said, I'm not saying that we're all going to just stay home for the rest of our lives because of COVID. I'm just saying that it's more convenient for businesses to do work virtually. So that's the big thing. How's it going, Riley? So there's still a lot of solidity in the market, right? There's still a lot of tokens doing well, but for the most part, everything is down, right? To kind of put this in perspective with what's happening in the global economy, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of what's happening in Turkey with the Turkish lira. So essentially, there's a huge economic crisis where the value of the lira is drastically dropping, essentially going into being valueless. We'll see how that works, but day by day, everything's getting more and more pricey for anyone using the Turkish lira. This is something that it hasn't even happened just to Turkey. This has happened to well, not native. I'm born in Canada, but the country that my family is from is Lebanon. This happened to Lebanon earlier on in the year. A lot of it was probably due to the blast and everything else, but a lot of this has a lot to do with it. How's it going, Redbeard? Appreciate you stopping in. So we have. The reason why I'm bringing up the lira is not because the lira has any importance in the global economic structure. I'm more saying that in my lifetime, I don't think I've seen so many currencies in a year go belly up, or in, let's say, 5 years, because in 5 years we've had Venezuelan's economy go belly up, we've had Lebanon's economy go belly up, we've had a lot of different economies basically just go right down the tubes. And there's nothing that can be done about it. A lot of issues like this are hitting produce costs and costs of living, which is a big deal. And you're going to start seeing a lot more people, especially in Turkey, instead of buying, say, US dollars or buying physical gold in a lot of ways, they're going to start buying cryptocurrency. They're going to start buying Bitcoin. So keep that in mind, too, when you're looking at, you know, Bitcoin going down, when you're looking at these price charts, and then you think, well, like, how could this go up? And then you remember that the economy is in the tanks, right? We have supply chain shortage issues. We have labor shortage issues. We have all these issues with our supply chain and our economy. And it's really heading into a bad area. And we've talked a lot of times about how hyperinflation can impact a country, say, like the United States. The Federal Reserve it knows about these inflation rates. Mr. Transitory himself is aware of what's happening, that, you know, these inflation rates are transitory. They're here for a short time and then they're going to leave. Jerome Powell is not the friend of the economy, and a lot of what's happening with the money printing. Yes, you can argue that a lot of it was necessary. I don't agree. I think that there's a way to incorporate all the needs of a country without running in a deficit. I firmly believe that. And going unchecked, just printing money without reporting M2 reports or reporting the money supply to average people like you and me, so we can detect things like inflation coming in. It to me seems intentional, and I could be wrong. You know, tinfoil hat is on. I just don't see how someone as intelligent as Jerome Powell, because say what you will about Mr. J. Powell, money printer go burr, he's a very intelligent person. He knows what he's doing, and that's what I firmly believe. I firmly believe that this rampant money supply, this supply chain shortage that we're dealing with, we have BC literally just like underwater. BC's underwater, hitting a huge amount of supply chains for Canada too. This Christmas is probably going to be one of the craziest Christmases in terms of store shortages, in terms of you know, Black Friday deals and everything else. Yeah, so it's pretty volatile where we're sitting on right now in terms of the economic structure. So when you look at everything like that and then think, okay, like Bitcoin is down today. Well, Bitcoin is up 88%. Despite everything, right? Despite what we've been through, we're up 88%, right? Even more since I've been in cryptocurrency, and like I haven't been in crypto. Well, I've known about crypto for a while, but I haven't been invested in crypto until basically January of 2019, or well, 2020. Basically January of 2020 is when I got invested. So by then, crypto Bitcoin was sitting at roughly 9 to 10K, give or take. Now we're sitting at 55K. I'm in no way worried about where Bitcoin's going to go. And in fact, I think because of the economy, because of where we are in the global structure, I think we're going to go higher. Free hat with every with every roll of tinfoil. That's it. Put them on, boys. Put them on. You know, I gotta come dressed up here as Alex Jones one time. But it's in my opinion, the writing's on the wall, and it only makes sense that a digital currency like cryptocurrency is going to help. Now, you can obviously see that governments are going to be rushing to CBDCs. I think that's obvious. We can't expect the United States to use Bitcoin as a legal tender, but we can accept most merchants to accept it, right? Whether or not the government accepts it or not, I think is a moot point for the most part. I think a lot of people would agree with that. I know that there's still dealings of Bitcoin in certain countries, and obviously a lot of it could be more underground using Bitcoin scramblers and everything. But generally, we're moving more towards the rate where eventually you'll be able to buy your groceries in Bitcoin, which is a big deal, right? Buy your groceries, pay your bills, all in Bitcoin. Eventually, that is going to happen. So when you have that in mind, and when you're looking at this $55,000 Bitcoin and thinking, well, shucks, it was at 69,000. Nice. 69,000 just a couple of weeks ago. What are we doing here at 55,000? You just got to remember that it's one, going to go back up, and two, we're still so far extended, so far up here from where we were before. And in terms of the bull market, like in terms of where we are, and a lot of people say that, you know, this is our market peak. I don't think so, but hey, you can think what you want. That's totally fine. A lot of people have different opinions, and we get along in this world just fine. So it's absolutely fine that you have a different opinion. If you look at it, right, if you look at where we are right now, we're still in like the top of this movement, right? We still haven't like gone further down. Like we're still in this little minute space that Bitcoin hasn't been up for what? Hold on, let's put this on the monthly calendar here so I can count easily. Bitcoin hasn't been in this zone for more than roughly 3 months, 4 or 5 months. Not even, because half of these months it was under this zone. So we haven't been up here for a long time in the grand scheme of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, compared to like say something like here, where it's way more exaggerated in this space, way more consolidation. We haven't been up here for very long. So to think, you know, oh no, Bitcoin's down, we're still kind of in this zone that we haven't been around for quite a while, but Bitcoin's down, it's not really that important in the grand scheme of things when we're looking at the macro scale of everything. Micro, if we're worried about what's happening in the near term, what's happening in the next couple of days, yeah, sure, this looks pretty bearish, right? Like we're going down from our upwards trend. We're still meeting our trend line. And again, I draw my trend line here. If you're wondering, I draw my trend line from the bear market, right? So from that March dip, which is a bit of an anomaly, we reached up to here, which is where people got gapped out thinking that Bitcoin was going to go sub 9K. It didn't go sub 9K, and in fact, it went on to a bull market, hitting upwards to 64K, then crashed down, hit our trend line again, came back up, got rejected at 52,000, which we've talked about a lot on the channel, 52,000, went back down, hit our trend line again, and then reverted back up to 69,000. Now we're kind of coming through that once again. So we'll see whether or not we hit support at our trend line. We have a lot of support at our trend line. We have a lot of support at 52,000. So I'm not really worried about where Bitcoin's going to go. A lot of people can be worried, sure, but I don't think it's anything that anyone needs to particularly stress about or anything like that. I think in a lot of ways, and a lot of people are saying this on the channel, which is great. A lot of people are commenting and saying, you know, this is a buying opportunity, and it is. There's a lot of tokens to take advantage of the dip on. Solana is probably one of them. Cardano is 100% a buy, in my opinion. Whether or not you like Cardano, like I know a lot of people hate Cardano because the moon boy aspect of all the people so ambitious and fanboy of Charles Hoskinson, and that's fine. But you know, people are going to be hyped around a good project and a good program, and I think Cardano is going to be a good smart contract program. It's not as free and wild as say Kusama or say Solana or something like that, but it's peer reviewed and it's built to last the test of time and to actually be a helping force in economies in continents like Africa, right? So they're trying to do a lot of things. Something happened, I think, in Uganda that fell through, or something. I could be not thinking of the right country. It could be Ethiopia. I know something happened with Charles that he wanted to announce something. It just didn't work out. So you know, not everything can go extremely as planned right away, but again, this is what the whole space is about. We talked yesterday, actually, in the video about the internet, the startings of the internet, and how we went through that .com bubble in 2000, everything burst, and then everyone thought that anything with .com after it, on the other side, before 2000, everyone thought that anything with .com after it was worth $1 billion. But after the crash, they all thought anything after with the .com after it was a load of shit, which actually it was. A lot of people were just renaming their companies to .com at the end just to get the stock price to go up, get people investing. Absolutely insane. But you see that, and then you look at that crash, and then you look at what has come from the internet, how that has fundamentally changed everything. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for the internet. You wouldn't be seeing my screen right now. We wouldn't have the products with Apple. We wouldn't have Facebook, for better or for worse, Facebook, I think most of us can do without that one. We wouldn't have these innovative tech companies today. Our world wouldn't be the way that it is. We wouldn't be socializing the way that we are. We'd fundamentally be different. Who knows what our reality would look like without the internet? But the Pandora's box is already opened. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because the exact same thing is with cryptocurrency. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. This is it. Crypto is here to stay, and it's going to fundamentally change how we look at value, how we trade for goods, how we buy services. Everything about our lives, crypto is going to change. We're going to look back at it as being one of the most innovative, changing technologies for society that we've had in the last 100 or so years. Maybe I'm being grandiose in that. I don't think so. I think crypto is here to stay. So when you look at it from that perspective and the long-term perspective, you start to recognize why we're invested in something like this. Obviously because of the long-term staying power. So a market drop, to kind of cap this discussion off, a market drop isn't stressing me out too much. So I'm not especially worried. You shouldn't be worried. So hopefully everyone's not all that worried. I ran out of coffee, like actual coffee beans to make coffee. So I had to go down to Circle K for my Canadians and get a coffee. Not even Tim Hortons. I didn't even want to drive. I was like, do I really want to get in my car and drive to Tim Hortons? And that was a definite no. In terms of news, like there's not much in the news. There's Shiba Inu news that we've talked about before, like Newegg confirming that they're purchasing in Shiba Inu. Someone buying 35 billion Shiba Inu through the market crash. Lately, this whole trending thing has been Shiba Inu. So that should be at least bullish for SHIB because of how much market sentiment is there. But also it kind of makes me wonder, when are people going to move to the next coin, right? Because we had Dogecoin, people moved from Dogecoin to SHIB, and then like, are people going to move to SHIB from SHIB to another new coin? Oracle might be able to pipe in and give us some insight on that one, but it's interesting to see all the hype around Shiba Inu. I mean, I have a little bit of SHIB. I don't play with it. I should play with it a little bit. I know Vapor right now is in Saitama. But which is I guess a derivative of SHIB, I believe. I could be very wrong. But overall, it's been, I'd probably say for a lot of people, it's just a scary time, right? Seeing the market drops and everything else, and kind of trying to weather through it, whether or not they need to buy or sell. And I think the big thing is people just need to recognize that the market moves, especially these market moves, this close to something like December, is very normal and makes a lot of sense in terms of the grand scheme of the market. SHIB has a huge push as a payment coin, but that's what happens with Doge, and it, yeah. So it sounds like, for me, it sounds like a lot of people from Shiba Inu are going to be looking for the next thing. It seems pretty indicative of that community, the Shiba Inu community, and I could be very wrong in that. But it seems like every iteration of the Dogecoin killer, so Dogecoin to Shiba Inu, does fundamentally more things than Dogecoin, right? So I can definitely see the people that are investing in Shiba Inu moving to another coin as soon as something comes out. So we'll see what happens there. How's it going, Jenster? Welcome to Coffee and Crypto. Good morning. Hopefully everyone's doing good, checking in again. Overall, in terms of the market cap, we're down roughly. I think Shiba is done. I would probably agree with you. I think the next one is definitely going to be eyed out because everyone's hungry for the profits. And I think SHIB has blown out some amazing market moves. So, you know, also teams up with the former Activision vice president because Activision has a great name right now. I think another token is going to come out that they're most likely going to move to is my speculation. It's created as a liquidity for their DEX that has been complete. Yeah. So right now, crypto is sitting at roughly $2.5 trillion market cap, according to CoinGecko's $2.6 trillion. Probably a lot of the lower cap tokens are collected here. William Vaughn from Activision was added to Sheep game development. Yeah, that was that before all the Activision Blizzard stuff? What is it? The cube crawls? Did you guys hear about that? Literal cube crawls, getting super drunk and crawling cube to cube and harassing the female employees. Sounds like some Wolf of Wall Street shit right there. Yeah, wow, that surely ruins Blizzard's reputation right there. So, rip to Blizzard. Yeah, but we'll see. I think NFTs is actually let's talk about this because I hear this a lot with NFTs. Now I want to preface this with I'm not a collector of any kind. I mean, back when I was a kid, I had Pokemon cards like everyone else. You know, I collected video games that I played, that kind of thing, but I didn't really have like a collection. I'd probably say the closest thing to a collection today, like physical medals, I guess, is like the closest thing to a collection. And even then, I'm not collecting. It's more like just have medals. If you think about NFTs, and a lot of people will say, well, like, what is an NFT? Or I don't understand. NFT is a bubble and all of this. NFTs themselves, okay, so here's the thing. Are NFTs, yes, could be a bubble, right? NFTs could be a bubble. But the NFT technology, what that technology is far past just what it's being used for today. It's a way to determine ownership of a digital asset. Now, that can be hard to grasp, but I think a lot of people are going to value more the digital space than the physical space very, very soon, especially as we start inching into this economy where people have less in the real world and more in the virtual world. That's going to be a trend going into the next 50 to 100 years. But with NFTs specifically, this opens the opportunity for, say, artists, people that make music to sell their songs through NFTs and completely cut out the record label middlemen, the old patent trolls that basically charge a shit ton of money just to blow up some rapper and their music specialization that they've invested in is not even close to rap, but they get royalties off of these artists for decades and years until the artist is even dead. This is a big industry. NFTs directly combat something like that. So NFTs aren't going away. What is being sold in NFTs might be a bubble very well, but you know, at the end of the day, the technology is going to be there for a long time. So Jeff asks, hey man, by the way, happy Saturday morning. Thoughts on DOT? I was hoping for more after the para auction, but it was a little bump right after with the hype. Yeah, so I think Sol had a lot of hype that kind of took the wind out of the sails for Polkadot, definitely. Now, Polkadot also has suffered quite a bit through this drop, right? So let's kind of put this in perspective here. Last time Bitcoin just kind of fell through the ceiling, right? Polkadot took a massive drop, and then we dropped all the way down to that $10 Polkadot. So going down roughly 79%. Polkadot saw a 79% drop. Here, we're not seeing anything nearly as large. I don't think we'll see anything nearly as large. So there is that. We're seeing a 35% drop, 38% drop. Still a lot. Still a fairly big drop to see for something like Polkadot. Fundamentally, where's it going with the parachain auctions and everything else? it makes sense that we're having a dip right now. There's still a lot of things to happen within the ecosystem. I think that there are still some auctions happening. I could be wrong in saying that. But I know Akala won the Parachain auction, one of them, for the slots. I don't know who else is chains. I don't know what other parachains are getting through right now. Let's see here. So I'll bring this over. This goes over. Does it go over? Okay, so we're on the third auction, I believe. So we're on the third auction, and I believe for this one, goes till December 2nd. So a couple of things that we need to keep in mind is one, Moonbeam, right? So we have the Glimmer token, so we want to pay attention to that because that's going to be coming out, and we're going to want it, right? We can't, well, I can't invest in it because I'm Canadian. I couldn't do the early sale, but I'm definitely going to be buying some Glimmer as soon as it's available, and holding it because I'm excited of where it's going to go. So I believe there are still things happening, but right now it's tentative, the market, right? At the end of the day, what the market's going to do is basically going to drive everything. And if the market is down, Polkadot's going to be down as well. But I also am looking a little bit more longer term because I'm expecting a market peak into 2022. So I definitely still believe in the $150 Polkadot happening by the end of the market cycle. I'm still bullish on that prospect, but long term, where's Polkadot going to go? I think it's going to beat out a lot of other smart contract blockchains, mainly because it brings that interoperability in the space, helps onboard layer 1 cryptos into the whole ecosystem of cryptocurrency. It's something that Gavin Wood is specifically passionate about. Right now it's hard because cryptocurrency is so new that it's all about hype, and hype of one token can take so much focus away from other tokens. I remember at one point I could not make a video about anything other than Cardano because everyone would lose their shit that I'm not talking about Cardano. Now if I make a video about Cardano, nobody gives a fuck, frankly. And I think the same thing with Polkadot. I'll make a video about Polkadot, everyone is hyped about it, and then next week I have people being super bearish about Polkadot. What's often funny is in some of my videos, especially the Moon River video, people will say, you know, it's a scam when I first put it out and everything else, and then weeks later they come back to that video and start commenting. They're like, oh, you were right. I'm like, you know, like not everything's a scam, but market sentiment is market sentiment, and when people are more bullish on something like Solana, then they're going to move to Solana. The thing about what's happening in this market, in this crypto market, is people, well, and not even just this crypto market, I should say, in every market in general, because you look at stocks right now, any stock that's like dramatically pumping, everyone wants a piece of it. Everyone wants to get into that stock because it's huge. So people just flip-flop, right? Some people are just like, well, the dot's down, you know, on this and whatever, but Solana has done this, right? And they just look at this big green candle and then they think, well, I got to get in here, right? So that's the mindset of most people. So you got to put that in perspective when you're thinking about why something is dropping compared to another, and then put your fundamentals in. Like, is there's something fundamentally flawed in Polkadot that it couldn't see a higher price going further on? I don't think there's anything fundamentally flawed in Polkadot. There's also a lot of things happening on different Polkadot parachains and subchains, especially some substrate chains. One being PolkaSwap. We've talked a lot about PolkaSwap. The PolkaSwap Community Collective has reached out to me, giving me some updates that I need to make a video on. It's basically about stablecoins offering liquidity within the system, some really bullish ideology on this Sora blockchain. So we'll be updating that later on in the week for PolkaSwap. But a lot of people are commenting now on my PokeSwap videos saying, oh, like, I bet you regret this investment, or I bet you regret being in PokeSwap, or I bet you regret this. I don't regret anything. I'm still in PokeSwap. I haven't sold anything. I still earn liquidity every single day. I earn PokeSwap off the burn rate, because right now, instead of being fully burnt, the PokeSwap tokens, it's being given to liquidity holders. So all of my liquidity is still sitting in PokeSwap. I haven't removed it, haven't taken it out. I don't even think I've touched it. I even think if I go there, all my fee rewards are still going to be there. In fact, just to prove that my fee rewards are there and I haven't accepted it, I will literally go to the PokeSwap exchange right now and show you. So nothing is left, PokeSwap. I'm not exiting the project, because fundamentally, I don't know what's going on. Fundamentally, it's fine. Oh, I'm human. I'm a real boy. What is this? What even is this? Click all the boats. How many boats are there? What, like, imagine. Ugh. I hate these things. I hate these things. Let's see here. We'll go to rewards. Put in my MetaMask. And there we go. And you can see, actually, what's funny is my fees have gone up, right? I've been earning more on a day. And the reason why I'm earning more on a day, to kind of give you guys perspective of why that works, why I'm earning more PSwap tokens on the daily, is because more people are selling. More people are exiting the platform and getting out. But fundamentally, there's no reason to get out. Those automatic "are you a robot" things piss me the hell off. Like, I'm pretty sure a robot could get through. But see, like, everything's still here. All my liquidity is still here. My money sure is down. Like, I'm not even close to like where it was on my initial investment. But the fact of the matter is, I'm still earning PSwap every single day that I have liquidity in here. I still haven't removed the liquidity, and I'm here for the long haul. I think the DEX is good. I think, because, like, and another thing to keep in mind too is that this was a soft launch. This is even the full launch of the platform. So you definitely got to keep something like this in mind. I haven't left the project. I don't think you should either. Of course, do your own research. If you see something fundamentally wrong with a project, definitely exit it, right? But for me, I don't see something fundamentally wrong with PokeSwap or Sora. I'm still as bullish as I was yesterday, and in fact, this is a good buying opportunity to get more in the system. I just right now, like, looking at some of the high cap coins that are dropped, like Cardano, for example. It's very tempting to go into tokens like these rather than lower caps, right? A lot of times during market dips, and I think this is why a lot of people think that I go bearish on tokens that I don't talk about a lot. A lot of times on market dips, my focus changes from the micro caps to the large caps, right? What's happening with the big cap coins? Because if Cardano's at $1.50 when I expect it to go to $4, what am I going to be more excited about? Cardano or a speculative asset like PokeSwap? Now, of course, I'm still bullish on PokeSwap, still have it. But am I going to want something that has a higher market cap and I can collect more of those tokens immediately? Sure. That's why my perspective in market dips shifts over to Bitcoin, what Bitcoin's doing, and then shifts to the major high cap altcoins. When the market is super bullish and when everything is pumping, that's when I start looking at low caps and micro caps and start talking about those. So you'll notice that I don't talk a lot about low caps and micro caps right now, really just talk about high caps because that's what we're doing. VET is one of my longest holds. I hope it does something soon. I think VET is just one of those things that like, it is such a good blockchain, right? In terms of the problem that it solves. Literally in the start of this stream, we were talking about inflation, we were talking about the supply chain issues, and we were talking about, Port Vancouver having issues because of the flooding that's happening in BC. We have California has a huge shipping backlog right now. They're working across the clock just to get things on land. It's insane, these supply chain issues that we're having. VeChain is literally the solution, or literally a way to track these supply chains and make them more efficient. This is what VeChain does. It also validates the product and makes sure that the product is safe for you to use. It's not full of antibiotics. It's not made in sweatshops. It's, you know, made with whatever ingredients that the consumer wants to buy. This is what VeChain fundamentally does. In a consumer economy, in our world, you see the benefit of VeChain. So, you know, I'm here for the long haul with VeChain too. I bought VeChain at roughly like way below a penny. When did I buy VeChain? I'd have to go back into my buy orders, but I definitely bought it before August. Yeah, I don't know when, but either way, I'll go back and get that information for a later live stream, so we know exactly when I entered VeChain. Either way, in terms of where VeChain is going to go, it's going to revolutionize how our supply chain works. So when you look at that, and then you look at where it is in the market, you tend to not really worry too much. Like how I look at VeChain, I look at VeChain in the same way that I look at Amazon Web Services. And that initially can sound weird to people because they think, well, those two things aren't the same thing. One is a web server, one is a supply chain. Well, think of AWS and think of who uses AWS. Every single person that needs some sort of storage, cloud storage, uses AWS. Most. I'd probably say 80% of the market share, just throwing a number off the top of my head. Maybe it's not 80%, maybe it's 70%. Even if it's 70%, it's still the majority, right? A lot of people use AWS. A lot of people in the future are going to have to use VeChain. That's what I believe. I believe it's going to be such a game changer for the supply chains, for individual products and companies. Every single person is going to have the VeChain blockchain enabled and be tracking their products through VeChain. That's just what I believe. Right now, we're so speculative. We're just talking about prices. Nobody's actually using this stuff yet. Nobody's using cryptocurrency yet. We don't have people actually using VeChain. I mean, we do have people using VeChain, but we don't have the broad amount of the economy using cryptocurrencies. We're still talking about a $2.6 trillion asset, the smallest fucking asset that you could ever think of right now. At $2.7 trillion is not a lot of money when the stock market is over $110 trillion today. The housing market, over $300 trillion. We're talking about $2.7 trillion. Nothing in the grand scheme of things. Widespread adoption isn't even here. That's why I always say that this bull market doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter what happens this market. Who gives a shit? I care about the next market. I care about when mass adoption happens. That's what I give a shit about. An NFT adjacent play could be a Cypher token modeled after Axe. I don't know too much about different NFT plays, but we can take a look here. Am I spelling that right? Cypher, Cypher, right? Give me if you give me the ticker number, then I'll search it up and we can take a look at the token together. And like NFTs are going to be the next play, right? NFTs are definitely going to be the next play. And I'm not saying this is like, you know, Gary V, are you NFTing, bro? Like I'm not saying that, right? You got to be making content all the time, at least 7 days a week, at least 7 times a day, right? I'm not Gary Ving on everyone right now. But NFTs are actually going to be the future, right? When we think about digital media right now, when we think about people buying songs, buying collectibles, you look at the amount of fuss over, say, Pokemon cards today, right? When I was, however old I was when Pokemon came out, and playing with Pokemon cards, I never thought that in my 30s that people would be selling Charizards for $100,000 plus. Like I never thought that would be a real thing, but it is. That's a real thing. Collectibles are a real thing, and understanding that there's a market in that shows the value of NFTs. And if you're just looking at collectible NFTs, you also need to look at things like digital media, whether it be art, whether it be music, whether it be movies, whether it be all these other different things. Think of Disney. God damn. Like, you have a monolithic company like Disney, and every time they put out a new movie, a new Star Wars, a new something, they release a collection of limited NFTs with that. Are you kidding me? Do you think people are actually going to buy that? Like, what rock did you crawl under and miss the last 100 years? That's all I'm saying. I do more money with NFTs than hodl and trading. Yeah, I mean, like, that's possibly very true. In all honesty, like, well, like a lot of people say that NFTs could be a bubble right now. Very well. Right now, the market could be bubble-like. That doesn't mean that it... Okay, so Cypher isn't out yet. We'll take a look at the website in a moment here. Public sale December 6th. So could be very promising. The thing about the NFT market, yes, it's very hot and it could look bubble-like. That doesn't mean that NFTs themselves should be thrown out in any way. And it doesn't mean that we have to crash in an absurd way, right? Everyone like overuses the word bubble, right? The housing market, the 2008 financial crisis, that housing market was a bubble. Cryptocurrency is not a bubble right now, right? If Bitcoin's at 200K and all of the crypto market right now was sitting at $11 trillion, I would probably be comfortable with saying, well, this is a fucking bubble, right? NFTs right now is just a very, very hot market. I don't think it's a bubble. Personally, I could be wrong. I think bubbles way overused with a lot of people. So let's take a look at Cypher here. Cypher. Hold on. I think this is it. Hey, any thoughts on CRO? CRO is that crypto.com? VVS. I don't know what VVS is, but we'll see right now just so I can. Okay. And then CRO is crypto.com, right? Yeah. I think anything like exchange tokens, wallet tokens, they had their pump back before the bulk of everything went. That's when like Celsius token went up to $7 from like 40 cents. It's when Nexo token went up. It's when Binance was flying. But of course, there was other reasons for Binance being a smart contract blockchain. I think crypto.com is a great service for a lot of people just getting into cryptocurrency. A lot of newbies are going to use it, just like BlockFi, just like Celsius, and those tokens are going to shoot up in value. So definitely going to be a good play. I don't know much about VVS, but I think any token that comes through a wallet as a benefit loyalty token is probably going to be good because it incentivizes people to hold, right? And that's the biggest thing. When you're incentivizing less trading to happen on your token, more people to hold, it is going to increase the value just by nature. Same thing happens with the Cell token for Celsius. If you look at how the Cell token works in a big flywheel. The more people using the system and holding Cell token is going to be better. So in terms of Cypher token public sale coming soon. So again, another NFT thing. And I don't know the ins and outs of NFTs. I'm trying to like draw on my free time, kind of get into the hang of things. Maybe I'll like launch my own NFTs one day. How an individual artist has value, I don't know. What is really cool though is the idea that you can do things with NFTs. Like you can have games and you can interact with your NFTs and everything else. So the world of NFTs is a big space of where it can go. I don't know much about Cypher or this project specifically. I'd say the first things that I go to is the roadmap, which right here, the team as well. I'd like to have some sort of here we go, team and culture. I'd want to know that the team isn't anonymous, which they're not anonymous. They have their LinkedIn's linked right here. Looks fairly professional. So on face value, not knowing much about the product, it looks pretty good face value in terms of where the token could go. So we'll I guess we'll see, but I definitely need to know a little bit more about it. I'll watch this and kind of keep in mind, but like I'm not too versed in the NFT world, other than like what NFTs are, right? So I try to be an advocate for it because obviously I don't think it's a bubble. But yeah, a lot of people are making money on NFTs. It's a play to earn it's a play to earn game launching next year. Oh, play to earn. Sorry. So I see. And those are going to be good. Any right now. And here's the one. Okay, I see it. Gameplay. So it is a game. So a couple of things that I want to say about games. Number one, games are really hard to invest in because you don't know. It's so hard to pick a winner, right? It like the actual mentality of gamers is fucking crazy. And the reason why I know this is because I'm a gamer. Like, look at New Worlds. If anyone knows about gaming, they've heard New Worlds, the Amazon's MMO that came out. It's dog shit, right? It's absolute dog shit, but it's dog shit wrapped in very fancy wrapping. So it looks nice. It looks good. It plays well. It's a really good game, but there's nothing to do in it, right? It's fundamentally dog shit at the end of the day. I mean, they could improve it. It could get better. I don't want to shit on it in case anyone here plays New Worlds, but it's not as great. But when you're coming at it from a gamer mentality, it's so easy for people to hop from game to game. So it's hard to get into something that you're investing in without a clear business model. Now, that being said, you look at games that are produced by Zynga, which I believe are owned by Facebook or their own company. I know Zynga's fucking huge. But you look at those are basically Facebook games, right? Like Cherry Crush or whatever the hell it is that your aunt plays. You know, for those, there's an investment opportunity in those like addictive games. So if the game is addictive, if the game has playability, and you can see it at least being around, or at least have a good cycle of players on a regular basis, it's probably going to be a good play. So, but just be careful because gaming is an easy way to get burnt if you're going into something like that. But again, talking about wallet tokens, so we have CRO, VVS. We'll take a look at VVS a little in depth to see if they have a platform here. VVS Finance. Simple DeFi trading with all. Well, my question would be, is it DeFi or is it CeFi? And it might be DeFi. It is DeFi. Is it DeFi? Yeah, it looks like DeFi. What blockchain is this running on? Is it running on its own blockchain? VVS blockchain? Let's see what the APRs are. APRs aren't too bad. They have a lot of tokens that they could put, like Wrap CRO and USDC, that you could put up and get a 16% earnings on it. If you have, yeah. There's the ability. I see this as like a almost feels like a cleaner, easy to use Uniswap in a way for some people. So it could be good. The VVS token could be good, but for this to me screams out just like any other DEX token, right? Which there's nothing wrong with the DEX token. Like we have Uniswap. I'm in Radium myself. So if I go to, I always like can't find my stuff. But I always go, or if I go here, Radium Farm, I have my Radium. Which here we have the Radium token, which is the token for the DEX, the individual DEX. Then we have our different farming and our liquidity. Here I make a little bit more of an APR, but I don't make the best APR because I could be doing Ray and USDC, Ray and Serum for a little bit more. I just do Ray and Sol, Ray and Solana for 48.7% because I'm bullish on Sol and I wanted to provide Sol as liquidity with Radium. So that was my reasoning going into that token pair. So that I see VVS token the same ish as a DEX token. But I mean I could be wrong if I don't know more about the product. It doesn't seem like a wallet though, as much as say CRO is a wallet. Not saying that they're not going to do well. I just think that they're different types of tokens. Like if we look at oh, Nexo's not even here. Cell is here, but it went down. Hey, actually, did you guys hear about the Celsius news? So my brother sent this to me, and I'm the asshole that didn't even reply to him. So thanks, man, if you're watching. But Celsius's CFO, I'm gonna find the article here because I can't find it there. Celsius Network CFO. I don't even want to say it because I want you guys to see the article with me. All right, here it is. CoinDesk. Celsius CFO has been arrested on charges tied to former job at Mosh Hogeg's firm. I don't know exactly what type of firm it is, but I guess we're going to learn together. So Yaron Shalom, the CFO of crypto-led Celsius, so chief financial officer. That's a big role in a company like this. You guys know I'm a Celsius bull. I've talked with Alex Mashinsky. I have I promote it all the time. I still would promote it. This, to me, people are just going to do illegal stuff, and it is what it is, and innocent until proven guilty. So let's wait for the court cases. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything is wrong with Celsius because everything's audited through the blockchain. So I'm not particularly worried. And they took quick action to kind of deal with this. But we'll talk about their tweet in a second. So Yaron, the chief financial officer of the crypto lending platform Celsius, was one of several people arrested in Tel Aviv this month in connection to an Israeli crypto mogul Mosh Hogeg. So whatever crypto firm that they had this running. 3 sources in Israel confirmed that Shalom's arrest. Celsius went on to reply. I didn't mean to actually click on it, but we'll commit. We recently were made aware of the police investigation in Israel involving an employee. So notice the wording here, an employee, not the CFO. While this is in no way related to the employee's time or work at Celsius Network, the employee has immediately been suspended. We have also verified that no assets were misplaced or mishandled. So good for Celsius on that last part to really make sure that everything's fine in terms of that. They continue to say, we stand strong with our principles and policies, adhering to the highest standard of professionalism, compliance, and ethics. Celsius Network will continue to act in the best interest of the community, our customers, and our employees. So for me, I'm still very bullish on Celsius. The things to keep in mind, though, what they've done here is they've purposely said employee, not chief financial officer. Big deal. Chief financial officer. I'm not one to not criticize, right? I'm not one to not criticize, even if I like the product. I'm not moving any funds off Celsius. I'm not taking anything off of the platform. But having a CFO with those prior actions could be very damning to a company. So luckily, nothing came out of it. But this happened. I don't know the details of what happened with this firm, how this firm operated. So I'm really in the dark with a lot of that portion. But I guess, keep aware of this. There is some FUD articles and things happening in the background with Celsius. So I like that at least they made some sort of comment about it. But it does It's a CFO. It's a chief financial officer. That's not a small role. It's a pretty large role to be accused of some sort of financial issues with a previous crypto firm. So I don't know much about them. It doesn't look great for them because it looks like businessman Hogeg is implicated in sexual assault of a minor. So it seems like there are some other things happening here at this guy's firm. So I guess we'll see how that plans out. I don't know. Again, I don't know how much Yaron had to do with everything. It could be a formality why he was arrested, but I mean, if the Israeli police are arresting you, it's probably for a good reason. I'm just going to say that. But we'll see exactly. We'll follow this. We'll see exactly where this lands. But again, I don't think anything's wrong with Celsius or like your funds aren't safe or anything. I think everything's protected and safe because of the blockchain. So I'm not particularly worried. We will kind of start to wrap it up here. If there are any last minute questions in the chat, we'll kind of take them. Also remember, if you're here, drop a like, really appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Also subscribe if you're new here. Hopefully these live streams are good. I know a lot of it is just like a mind dump of just whatever I'm thinking. So hopefully you guys at least get something out of it, or it's entertaining at least. So but we'll get close to wrapping up. What I'll do is I'll go back to the chart here. We'll talk about Bitcoin, where we are right now, kind of recap what's happening with cryptocurrency, where I think we're going to go. Then we'll top off the live stream. So Bitcoin currently is sitting at roughly just under $55,000. We're going to hit 55,000 in a couple of minutes here. We are looking green on the day, up 2.6% after a pretty bad day yesterday. Whether or not we'll go up today is still yet to be seen, but most likely what I think is going to happen, we're going to get to this convergence here of $52,000 and our trend line that I've drawn. Again, that trend line is drawn from all the way back into the bear market, back into this March dip, the COVID dip, into where everyone thought Bitcoin was going to dip below 10K and instead went onto a bull market, and then going up here. So I think we're going to hit that convergence and then pop up to the upside, and that's it. We could see an extended sell-off for December. That's also very possible. And if we do see it, most likely, in my opinion, we'll see a market peak into 2022. So that's it, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the live stream, and I will see you guys next Saturday, Coffee and Crypto. All right, take it easy, everyone. Hopefully everyone enjoys their weekend. Don't panic about the prices. Everything's going to be all right.